Citizenship by marriage is a procedure for foreign nationals to become citizens of a particular country by virtue of being married to its native citizen. The criteria, the requirements, and the time for citizenship by marriage varies from one country to another. For instance, in some countries it takes around 7 to 10 years to obtain a passport, while in others it merely takes around 2 to 3 years to become a full-fledged citizen. In this video, we have ranked countries based on the time for citizenship after marriage, and besides the time, we are also going to mention the total cost of the whole process. Furthermore, to tackle con artists, some countries only hand out residency initially, which indefinably can lead to citizenship after maintaining marriage and residing in the country for an additional 3 to 4 years. On top of this, there are countries that even grant their immigration officers to conduct thorough research and psych tests to check authenticity of the marriage. To simply put, charlatans trying to commit marriage fraud can even face jail time if found guilty. So in conclusion, don't swindle for the sake of getting a citizenship. With all that in consideration, here are 15 countries with quick citizenship via marriage. Number 15. Norway. In the past, obtaining Norwegian citizen via marriage was very lenient, as it only took around 5 years. But nowadays, the government has increased the time frame to 7 years, during which the applicant must hold permanent residency in the country for at least 3 years. Whether you married in Norway or abroad is irrelevant, as the time you have been married to a Norwegian and shared a place of residence abroad also counts. However, the applicant needs to document the time they have spent abroad whilst being married with their Norwegian spouse. In some rare cases, this time frame can shorten a year or two if the foreign partner completes social studies and Norwegian language courses. Aside from the criteria and requirements, the total cost to go through the whole process can rack up to around $4,000 to $5,000 US. Additionally, any child born during this procedure will automatically be entitled and granted Norwegian citizenship without any inconvenience. Number 14. Belgium. Obtaining a Belgian citizenship without a spouse or ancestry is very daunting. Only those who have connections in the country mainly get its nationality. To acquire citizenship through marriage with a Belgian citizen, applicant must have lived in the country for at least 5 to 6 years. In addition to this, the applicant should speak one of the national languages, which are Dutch, German, or French, and prove social and economic integration. While the total cost for the whole process can rack up to more than $5,000. Aside from all this, Belgian law permits dual citizenship, which means you will not be required to give up nationality of your native or any other country. However, some countries may not allow dual citizenship, so you might be obliged to choose between Belgian nationality and your country of origin. Number 13. Australia. In Australia, there are 2 main ways to acquire citizenship. One refers to citizenship by conferral, and the other one refers to citizenship by descent. Citizenship by marriage is included in the category of citizenship by conferral, where the applicant must first meet certain residency requirements among other obligations imposed for this particular situation. One of them is having a relationship that is genuine and continuing. Plus, the couple must show proof of living together. If the couple doesn't share housing, then the residency for the applicant can be instantly revoked. In total, the couple is required to maintain their marriage for 4 to 5 years to be eligible to apply for nationality. The total costs for initial visas and the whole processing fee of the application afterwards amounts to roughly $10,000 to $12,000. Another thing to consider is that some requirements can also vary Based on the region where the couple resides in Australia, for example, its state New South Wales imposed certain rules and regulations that are slightly different compared to the standard immigration rules applied at a national level. Number 12. Netherlands. The Netherlands is a country of beauty, from its natural landscapes to its architectural masterpieces and art. It also consistently ranks high in global surveys, measuring overall quality of life with a strong emphasis on work-life balance and a good standard of living. So it's evident that many people look forward to becoming a citizen of this beautiful country. To obtain citizenship through marriage, the applicant generally needs to have lived in the country with the Dutch spouse for an uninterrupted period of around 4 to 5 years. During this time, the applicant is given a valid residence permit and is required to fulfill integration demands, including language proficiency and knowledge of Dutch society. The overall cost for this process varies from one case to another, but ultimately, a couple can spend over $14,000 to $16,000 for the whole process. Number 11. Sweden. Widely celebrated for its diverse and multicultural society, Sweden is home to many different cultures, religions, and ethnicities. Hence, its immigration policies are the most lax out of all the Nordic countries in the region. Foreign spouses and partners in a registered or cohabiting partnership of a Swedish national can apply for Sweden's citizenship in 3 years. However, more than just being married is required. The couple must live together for at least 2 years before the application is eligible to qualify, so in total, it takes around 3 to 5 years to be eligible for its citizenship. Moreover, if the relationship ends during the time of temporary residence permit, the residency is usually not extended, and the Swedish Migration Board can also cancel the permit with chances of deportation. If everything goes smoothly, the average cost for fees and other process-related expenses can accumulate to $6,000. Number 10. Germany. Marriage has always been one of the fastest possible pathways to acquire a German citizenship. The primary step in the process is to apply for a residence permit initially, which allows the foreign spouse to live and work in Germany while their citizenship application is in process. The residence permit is typically valid for 2 years and renewed as long as the requirements for citizenship is considered fulfilled. Once the foreign spouse has been living in Germany for at least 3 to 4 years with a residence permit, they can apply for naturalization. Although this process involves taking a German language test and passing a test on German culture and society. But nonetheless, the government is trying to make it more lenient for those who are still not proficient in the German language. But mainly the most important aspect is to prove that the couple has a stable marriage and that the foreign spouse has integrated into the German society. Number 9. Canada. The allure of Canadian nationality has prompted numerous individuals to consider the prospect of citizenship, often catalyzed by marriage to a Canadian citizen. However, this pathway is not devoid of complexities and considerations. In recent years, there has been a discernible upward trend in applications, and the number of applicants originating from spouses of Canadian citizens has increased by an impressive 32%. So for that reason, the country is currently facing a backlog and is expected to make some huge changes in the upcoming years. But for now, the process is simple. After obtaining the permanent residency, the spouse is eligible for citizenship after residing in the country for 3 years. Another important step in this process is to pass a citizenship test and interview, which includes multiple-choice quiz that assesses the applicant's knowledge of Canada's history, geography, political system, symbols, values, rights, and responsibilities. In conclusion, The journey to Canadian citizenship via marriage is a multi-dimensional endeavor that requires a delicate balance of legal, cultural, and personal elements. Number 8. Portugal. This country has seen one of the highest influx of expats and foreign-born residents in the last 10 years or so. Although the Portuguese government has made its golden visa and residency by investment program more difficult, the path to citizenship by marriage or naturalization still remains easy and straightforward. To gain nationality, a foreign citizen must be married to a Portuguese citizen for longer than 3 years and must reside in the country permanently. The total cost, including all necessary visas and the application for citizenship, can amount to a rough sum of $3,000. But bear in mind, those having a criminal record in their native country will not be given citizenship or residency in the country. Other than that, if one false document is discovered which deems the marriage illegitimate, the foreign spouse might face a hefty fine and even deportation. Lastly, Portugal recognizes dual citizenship, which means that those acquiring its nationality do not lose their native citizenship. Number 7. Ecuador. Most of the South American countries swiftly hand out citizenship upon marriage, and Ecuador is no exception to this. In spite of this, the appeal for Ecuadorian nationality is not in demand, and even if the spouse is of descent, they don't bother to obtain its citizenship. While those who still opt to go through its citizenship, the total process takes roughly 3 years, and the total sum spent from residency to naturalization application adds up to $1,400. Generally, even language and other tests on Ecuadorian culture and society are not mandatory to obtain its nationality. So only those who have an officiated marriage with an Ecuadorian person may apply for naturalization after 3 years from the date of its officiation. Number 6. The Dominican Republic. With many lured to this idyllic Caribbean island by the tropical climate, inexpensive properties, and high rates of return on investments, the Dominican Republic has turned out to be a popular choice for expats. Unlike Ecuador, the demand for its nationality is higher, as there are several perks that come with its citizenship, like better minimal taxation, with no wealth, gift, inheritance, foreign income, or capital gains tax, as well as the ability to hold multiple citizenships. Simply by being married for a minimum of 6 months, the foreign spouse is already eligible for the entire process of naturalization or Dominican nationality. However, it still takes a fair amount of time, but in most cases the average time span after marriage is roughly 2 to 3 years. On the flip side, those who have a criminal record or have no source of income are instantly denied citizenship, even if the residency term is fulfilled. Number 5. Paraguay. A landlocked country located in South America, Paraguay is bordered by Argentina to the south and Brazil to the east. Barely anyone looks forward to obtaining a Paraguayan citizenship. Only a handful of people, mostly from neighboring South American countries, tend to get citizenship in Paraguay. Regardless of the demand, it takes around 2 to 3 years to obtain its citizenship by marriage, and the total cost of everything, including fees and PR permit, equates to $2,000. There is also an exam set by the government. To pass this exam, applicant must show basic to fluent knowledge in Spanish language and must complete a short quiz of the country's history and geography. Number 4. Colombia. Another South American gem, getting a Colombian citizenship doesn't seem inviting at first, but there are many open-minded and adventurous expats that have moved to the country and are married to its native citizens. Plus, the country is slowly but gradually growing, and it holds a strategic location in South America, which certainly makes it attractive. Normally, it takes around 5 to 10 years to acquire its citizenship for foreigners, But if you are married to a Colombian citizen, then this time frame shortens to just 2 years. However, one is still expected to pass its citizenship test, which is based on Colombian history and geography, as well as a Spanish test. Additionally, if the applicant is from other nearby Latin countries, this test isn't necessary and the timeline can further shorten to just 1 year. Number 3. Mexico. Just like Colombia, acquiring Mexican citizenship by the casual naturalization process takes around 5 to 10 years. But those obtaining a Mexican passport via the marital route are entitled to apply for naturalization after just 2 years of living with a Mexican spouse. The overall total of fees and interviews cost adds up to around $500, with some additional small payments here and there. On the contrary, many people presume that Mexico is a poor country from which everyone is clamoring to get out of. But that is not that case for well-settled expats and digital nomads earning decent incomes, and its passport is quite better than many third-world countries across the globe. As its passport enables visa-free access to almost 127 countries and territories, including the entire Schengen area of Europe. Number 2. Argentina. The second largest country in South America and the 8th largest country in the world, Argentina might be facing a high rate of inflation and political instability right now, but overall, it is still one of the most developed countries in this continent. For those considering its citizenship, Argentina offers the most enticing benefits out of all its counterparts. The citizenship process is known for its speedy process, plus its passport allows visa-free travel to almost 161 countries, making it an excellent choice for foreign nationals with weaker passports. In essence, being married to an Argentine citizen streamlines the naturalization process, allowing spouses to acquire citizenship after 12 to 18 months of residency. This inclusive approach, recognizing both opposite-sex and same-sex marriages, which aligns with Argentina's commitment to equal rights and reflects the progressive legal framework established in the country. The total amount that is spent during this procedure is very low, but to sum it up, it can be mere $300. Number 1. Brazil. One of the biggest economies in South America, Brazil is that bitter-sweet country where getting a citizenship solely depends upon one's personal preference and circumstances. But better yet, the country values family unity and recognizes the significance of relationships. As a result, the process of obtaining permanent residency through marriage is designed to facilitate and support spouses of Brazilian citizens. Realistically, it takes around just 1 year to obtain its citizenship after residing permanently with your spouse. However, the country's bureaucracy can prove to be a veritable nightmare for a foreigner, so for that reason, the entire process may take a couple of extra months. A good and reputable lawyer or consultant can make sure there are as few delays as possible, but services of these professionals might add more to the cost. Apart from the lawyer's fees, the average cost for the total process is roughly around $200.